So many of you may be aware that we're going to have a constitutional referendum on the 8th of March of this year. And so basically the Constitution is the highest form of Irish-made law. So it's a very important document that reflects the values of a nation, and it's a document to which all other laws must submit. And so the government is proposing to amend that document, the Constitution, and is putting those proposals to a vote. So if the people of Ireland choose by a majority to accept those proposed amendments, the Constitution will be changed. And so there's two key provisions under consideration on the 8th of March. And so the two key topics are, first of all, the topic of family, and second of all, the topic of women or mothers. So the first provision in relation to family, we have quite a beautiful provision in our Constitution which outlines, it says that the family is the natural, primary and fundamental unit group of society. So that's quite a beautiful statement, and we know as Christians that we believe that the family is fundamentally important, that it's something that God has created, that it says in the Word that for this reason a man will leave his father and mother and become united to his wife. So from a family will come forth a second family. From children will bring forth the next generation, and God designed it that way. And so this provision is a beautiful sort of protection against state overreach if the family is that core unit of society. And so you can see it there on the screen. And so effectively the government wants to redefine this notion of family as no longer being founded on the institution of marriage, but also being expanded to other durable relationships. And so we know that the Word of God reinforces this notion of marriage. It doesn't talk about other durable relationships. So really this is a sort of a watering down and undermining of this notion of family as being founded upon marriage. So that's one of the proposed amendments that they want to bring in. And you can see the text there. They want to delete the words that the state pledges to guard the institution of marriage, deleting the words on which family is founded. So that's one of the proposed amendments. So we can move to the second one then, which is about women. And so this provision, this constitutional provision, has been very controversial for some time. The United Nations has criticized it there's a committee on the elimination of discrimination against women. So it's been described by that committee as stereotyping the roles of men and women. But actually, this provision is quite interesting. It's the only place within the Constitution where mothers are specifically mentioned. And it's one of two places where women are mentioned. And this also, you could say, it's quite, in some ways, it's a beautiful recognition of that unique role that a mother provides and plays. And so the text of the provision, as it currently stands, reads, "The state recognizes that by her life within the home, woman gives to the state a support without which the common good cannot be achieved." And it says, "The state endeavors to ensure mothers shall not be obliged by economic necessity to engage in labor to the neglect of their duties to the home." So it's recognizing that value, that role that a mother and a woman brings. And so this provision has not been used very much in the court, either against women, obviously, to require them to stay at home. We can see that we have a female minister for justice. We have female members of the Supreme Court, and many members of the judiciary are women. So obviously, it hasn't operated to prevent women from attaining positions of political power and influence, but it also hasn't really been used much in women's favor. So why does it matter whether this is in the Constitution or not? Well, we live in a world where people struggle to define what actually a woman is. And I think where there is an agenda really that definition remain obscured and that there be confusion around that definition, it's a little bit unsatisfactory that within the Constitution, effectively, it recognizes that motherhood is synonymous with being a woman. So it links those two identities together. And so I actually think that this provision, even though it hasn't been much used in the courts, is crucially important in terms of this distinction in genders that God has created, that only a woman can be a mother, only a woman can bring forth life through her womb and birth the next generation. And so I think it's concerning the amendments that are proposed, and ultimately the government wants to delete this provision and bring in a gender-neutral provision that mentions nothing about women or mothers. And so what can we do as a response? Well, obviously prayer is crucially important, but ultimately we can pray all we want, but we also have an opportunity to take a stand and to use our voices and to vote no. And so if you're an Irish citizen, it's so important that you are on the register of electors. So if we can go to the next page, and I'm going to invite you all, please take out your phones and look up the website, checktheregister.ie. It's going to give you information about how you need to get on the register. I think you need your PPS number and maybe something else. But you need to do that, and I understand that the deadline is the 20th of February, so please do it today. Get on the register. If you don't, you will not be able to vote. You will not be able to have your voice heard. It's so important that the church not only prays, but we also take action about these things that are facing our nation. So, thank you.